These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? They're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in. Why should I worry? Why should I care? It's just bee population, and I got street savoir-faire. These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. It's America's barley basket.
Welcome, everybody, to America's Barley Basket. I am your co-host, Nathan Fulsabach. Beside me, virtually, is the other beautiful host of America's Barley Basket, Mr. Marlin Wells.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Marlin.
How are ya?
You know, I am leaning against the wall with a pile of throw pillows under me. Kind of looks like I'm in hospice care, but I am... comfortable is maybe not the right word. I mean, I did just eat a bunch of pizza toppings, threw those crusts away because I'm a health nut.
Staying swole.
Yeah, very swole. These ankles are getting swole. I haven't moved much in the last couple of days. Do a lot of sitting. I'm back home deer hunting, Marlin.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Mighty hunter that you are.
Yeah.
Are you living off the fat of the land out there?
There's been no fat lately, except those on the hunters' bodies. Very quiet, very quiet so far. I try.
Seems inconsiderate on the deer's part.
Yeah, just come out here and die, you dum-dums. It's like, come on.
Now, is it because they're not there, or because y'all can't hit anything?
No, I literally just showed up yesterday, there's just a couple little cutie pie baby fawns out there, and that was all.
Oh, I bet those are good eating.
I need one of their weird uncles to show up so I can take it off this mortal coil.
Yeah, if they got spots, maybe don't shoot those. As a general rule.
But you're probably right, though. I bet they're delectable.
Mm-hmm. It's like veal.
Don't even have to bone them out. The meat just peels off the bone.
You just hold them upside down and yank the skin off like a rabbit.
Oh,
all right, here we go.
Should we even cook this?
Got a nice little pocket deer.
Here's hoping tonight things change.
Go get some night hunting done. Get the spotlights.
Yeah, I want to go on record. The False Books do not condone.
Man, I've not hunted in probably 15 years at this point. Probably getting close to 20, actually.
Do you ever, let's say if you find yourself in a more rural living environment, do you ever see yourself getting back into it?
No, absolutely not. I didn't like anything about it. That's the thing. It's like, if I wanted to still go hunting, that's a thing I could do. But it's not, I get zero joy out of hunting.
What don't you like about it? I mean, I can totally get it. Is it the waking up early? Is it the cold? Is it the murder? Is it the murder, Marlin?
No, I got zero problem with the murder. It's the cold and the early.
Yeah.
That and like hunting was always such an anxiety-inducing thing because it's like, oh, if I get a shot and I take it and I miss, I sure am going to get yelled at.
Yep.
Like, that's not fucking fun.
Yep. And then you go, every once in a while you do it with other families, and it is a fun bonding experience. It's like, what's going on right now? Why is everyone smiling?
Yeah. Why are you all, like, having fun? Why did he miss and he didn't get slugged? Why is that? What is happening
It's like
here?
There's a lack of tension that's causing me to be tense.
Yeah. If somebody doesn't get into too much blackberry brandy and yell at each other, I'm leaving.
Everything in life is supposed to be a test.
Yeah, exactly. With horrid consequences if you fail.
And a very murky finish line, so you never know if you have achieved said goals at all.
Yeah, I had zero fun hunting. See, also fishing. Fishing, supposed to be a nice, relaxing, just cast your line, nice Tom Sawyer-esque sort of thing. But God damn it, not at all. That was not my experience.
I could see, I don't get, like, I could see myself getting into it because I do love eating fish. So, but like the aspect of going out and fishing and catching fish and just releasing them is insanity and, needlessly cruel. And this is coming from a guy that, if all goes well, I'm going to decapitate a deer tonight. Like, just the idea, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a hook through something's head. drag it till it's exhausted, pull it out of what it breathes in, and then look at it like, and then rip a hook, not professionally, I'm not a doctor, and throw it back in the water. Like, there you go.
Tell your fucking friends.
I just don't get it. It's relaxing. Yeah, not for the fish.
And for me, not for the fishermen either.
Yeah.
Like, because that was another case. Like, oh, you had one, but he got off the line? Well, prepare to catch hell.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, none of this is fun. Like, we could just not do this.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're going fishing. It's like, listen, you and I don't like each other. We don't have to do this.
Yeah. I kind of, if I ever like decide to have the third chapter in the Nathan's alcoholism book, I think it might involve ice fishing, though. I think that's a fun way to drink.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the cold. I'm not a winter person.
Oh, it
I
would involve
hate
a
it.
very well-heated fish house.
Oh, you wouldn't ice fish like we did, where you sit on an upturned 5-gallon pail out on the ice?
That ain't no way to live, Marlin. Ice fishing now is just a colorful way of covering up a troubling drinking problem for most people. I have been in many a fish house where they've been there for 4 hours and no one's gotten around to drilling a hole yet.
Jesus, I can't imagine.
There's 3.5 empty cases of Bush Light, but there's no fish.
Because there's no holes.
Because you're collecting aluminum, you're getting some whoppers.
Yeah, not the way we fished. Yeah. We fished as if we needed it to survive.
Yeah. You ran out of coal, so you're burning fish.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how fishing was. Like, oh boy, sure don't like anything about this process. If only we could just skip it.
Yeah. And I want to speak to our listeners outside of the upper Midwest. The ice gets thick enough here. It just becomes a new Earth. You can drive tractors on it. It is completely bonkers. Yeah. Yeah,
and people have their great big ice fishing rigs that they just drive out on a lake and leave there for the whole season.
They're like nice.
It's like, we got satellite TV and a stove and everything. Like, that's a whole different world because, like I said, I grew up sitting on a bucket freezing to death. And that's not me being old man like back in my day. No, like fuck back in my day. We should improve upon things.
Yeah, we had not perfected the techniques of enjoyable fishing.
Yeah, or enjoying anything where I came
enjoyment in general.
Yeah, we didn't recreate well.
You're making up for it now. Just a man of leisure.
Yeah, that's me. I am just flat out recreating all the time now.
All over himself. I love it.
Don't recreate too much. You'll go blind.
It's the dirty boy out there recreating.
Recreational dirty boy.
That's so great.
We have, Nathan, some Simpsons to talk about.
Do you think so?
I mean, we don't have to.
Let's try it.
You want to just do a Simpsonless episode of America's Barley Basket?
That's it. I like that idea a little bit, but I think we should. The people, they've come to expect a certain something from us, so we better talk about The Simpsons, at least in a glancing way.
I wonder what that is. I wonder what people expect from us if they were to write it down.
I think it's a little laughs. It's a little heart. I think they expect to learn a little something, too.
I think there's a fuck ton of heart in this show, which should be the tagline.
Yeah. That'll be our merch. That'll be the baby doll tees we sell before we do our live tapings on the road.
America's Barley Basket with a fuck ton of heart. Today we are working through episode 6. Season 6. And we're doing episodes 14 through 18. Someone suggested on Twitter that I put what episodes we're recapping in the show description of the podcast. And provided I remember to do that, that is exactly what I will do. That's a good suggestion.
Well, thank you, dear listener.
Yeah, look at them. Just trying to help.
They're just trying to build it up.
I guess when you download this and see the show notes, you will see whether or not I remembered.
Just find the chinks in our armor. There are very few of them, but you find them, you let us know. We're going to keep building this up to your specifics, you know?
Yep. Custom built podcasting.
Yep. What do you want us to do?
Personalized.
Want us to punch ourselves? We'll do it. We don't care. No, that's more of a Patreon thing. I don't got dental insurance anymore. I can't be punching myself. Can't be going full jackass without dental insurance.
Right. Not going to staple your balls to anything just because the listeners want it.
Oh, I forgot. That's how he ended his live show, Steve-O, was he'd staple his nutsack to his leg or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
What a finale. I mean, maybe the guy's got a hell of a bag on him, but like, how many staplings can a bag have in it, you know? Jesus.
How many holes can you punch in a grocery sack before it doesn't hold anything anymore, you know?
My God. Yeah, but he was a true showman.
I once at a little person wrestling event paid a little person to staple a dollar bill to my forehead with a staple gun.
How'd that go? Did you get
It was all right.
You get a little bit of a pop, a little bit of a rush from it?
Yeah, kind of, actually.
Yeah, I bet. I could see that.
Just enough to let you know you're still alive.
Yeah, every once you need to staple something to yourself. Just let you know the old ticker's still pumping blood. You still got some endorphins welling up.
Just to remind yourself that you haven't become so lackadaisical and comfortable in your life. You got to throw in a wild card every so often.
So with the little person wrestling, first off, do they call it little? Is it still midget wrestling?
It's still midget wrestling, but
I mean, I can see. But I was just gonna say they're already debasing themselves. Why horse around with any level of political correctness at this point?
Yeah. I feel like wrestling is always the last thing through the door in any one given social condition. Yeah. So at the time anyway, it was still midget.
So are they like, because I know like there's a lot of bars, like they must like traveling road shows. They play like bars throughout the upper Midwest. Like, are the matches worth a damn, or is it just this? Like, do they know? Are they, do they got the skills?
The matches are worth watching. Like, there was always at least one or two guys where you're like, oh, he's actually like a good wrestler. But for the most part, it's comedy.
Yeah, I know King Kong Bundy used to really get broken up. He thought he may have inadvertently caused the death of a midget wrestler at one of the WrestleManias. I don't know, he threw one into a giant ceiling fan or something, but it turns out that, like, I guess the little fella died of unrelated things, but I guess he kind of carried that with him most of his life, that he thought he kind of botched a move, and when King Kong Bundy botches a move with a little person, the consequences can be very tragic.
Yeah, that needle goes up real quick.
Do you think King Kong Bundy shaved his eyebrows and stuff, or was he? Did he have alopecia or something like that?
I don't know. I bet he shaved it, just because that's just me making assumptions as far as like everything in wrestling is a gimmick and none of it's real. Yeah. So I'm assuming that was an intentional job.
How degrading is pro wrestling? You're already a giant, scary-looking dude, and some cigar-chomping asshole manager, like that owns the territories. Like, hey, it'll be funny if he just didn't have any hair. You're gonna be like giant marshmallow. How's that sound? Like, well, like, I guess I'll never date again. Good.
Yeah.
Here's $40.
You gotta live the gimmick. Yeah. We got 47 shows next week. You best fucking tape up.
You get $5 per concussion. Here's $40. Good show.
Now try not to forget your name or where you live. Get out of here.
They're stapling the directions to the next show on their forehead. Just look in the rear view.
I swear to God, if you're not in Tallahassee next weekend, you're done. You're done in this business.
I'm going to need you to drive from Gary, Indiana to Tallahassee in 6 hours.
Good luck. If you're not there, your spot's gone forever.
Yeah.
I got 40 other guys that'll make that drive.
You're going to get blackballed from the white-hot Jacksonville wrestling scene.
Wrestling is a real cruel business.
Yep.
Fucking carny ass motherfuckers.
But sometimes it can be pretty cool, especially when you're a kid.
Yeah. Oh, as an adult, I still love it. But like looking at it as an adult, you can also be like, this is great and awful. There are so many awful things about this.
I find it very charming that it still exists.
Yeah.
That
somehow they made it work.
Giant men wear virtually women's undergarments and pretend to fight.
Yep.
People pay lots of money to watch this.
Yep. And the fact that it's still around in the age of the UFC and mixed martial arts in general, like you could watch real fighting, or you could watch theatrical play fights, and I will take play fights every time.
Oh, we didn't have wrestling in our high school, but I remember meeting like amateur wrestling kids and from other towns, and they were always so salty about pro wrestling.
Yep, they just hated it.
It's not real wrestling. Yeah, we get it, because real wrestling sucks.
Yeah,
what you guys
I would
do
never watch real wrestling.
Is the worst thing ever. It's so boring. It's very weird. You're laying on top of each other when the match starts. Like, hey, like I think a one weird man makes the rules up as he goes. Like, yeah, now you're gonna start the scissor position. What? Like, yeah, get those boys scissoring. Yeah. Okay, whoever scissors the best wins. Okay, sir.
Not a one of you proclaims to be like a cowboy or an undertaker, or none of you have a steel chair or fireworks. Get out of here.
You're just Dennis from Hettinger. No one cares about Dennis from Hettinger. But if you were an evil magician, my ears would perk up.
You're just out here in your weird earmuffs and your ballet tunic and going for it, I guess.
Yeah, with your buzz cut. I learned what that was for. It's for so when you kind of lock up, that your short hair is very coarse on the skin, so you can like rub it into their face. So that's like the only aspect I find intriguing, is like
tactical haircuts.
Tactical haircuts. Holy, that is a prog rock band. Tactical haircuts opened up for the Talking Heads in 1978.
Congratulations on your weird ears doing your sport that no one wants to watch.
The weird ears are depressing.
But then a lot of, like, if, the top level amateur wrestlers eventually do go on to, plenty of them got into pro wrestling. Plenty of them have gotten into MMA. Like, I'm not saying there's no path. I'm saying that I'm not interested in watching you travel it.
Yeah.
Until you get to
hey, if you find joy
destination.
It's got you up and moving. That's cool, because, boy, getting up and moving, that's half the battle.
Anything that gets you out of bed, I think you ought to do.
These memory foam mattresses, man, they are...
They're a trap is what they are.
Double-edged sword, man. Oof, yeah, they literally and figuratively a trap.
Yeah.
The comfort is a trap, and the fact that it's hard to get out of these things is you really sink in.
Yeah.
The Simpsons.
We got there somehow.
We almost got into this one. You introed it and everything.
You ever try to breadcrumb trail a conversational path to be like, how'd we fucking get here?
Yeah.
And never. Nope, not a clue.
Nope.
I do know how we got to The Simpsons, just via the Disney Plus app. So, pretty short journey, really.
Thanks, Internet.
Episode number 14 is Bart's Comet. This one, much like we talked about with the space one, the Homer in space one, I thought this episode was kind of like a bridge too far, almost, as far as like high stakes in this one. They're launching a weather balloon that Bart has painted and made up to look like Skinner with his ass out, which is amusing right off of the bat. It floats up into the sky, and Willie starts shooting at it, trying to bring him down. And there's a great bit with two American fighter pilots who try to shoot it down and end up blowing each other out of the sky. And one is ranting about, this is what happens when you cut military funding and give it to health care. It's like, boy, we're still here, huh?
Yeah. Well, I hope that guy can rest easy knowing that we're just giving more and more to the military and less to everything else.
Yeah, who needs, doctors?
Yeah.
Who needs to go to a hospital ever?
Who needs that? Yeah.
We need to be able to blow the shit out of people halfway around the world for no reason.
Just pick up another shift. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah.
You can work 18 hours a day.
Yeah, everyone I know works 3 jobs and can't afford to go to the dentist.
Yep.
So.
We're the best.
America.
Jeff Bezos made $7 trillion this weekend, so that's good.
Yeah, he'll be good.
Priorities.
He can go to every dentist if he wants to.
He can eat a dentist for every meal of the day. He has enough money to pay off all their friends, loved ones, and acquaintances that they will never talk of it. As he live streams him eating their favorite uncle to them. You have to watch. That's what I get out of this.
Just delicately too, like with a nice flatware, delicious.
I have to know you're watching.
As a punishment for his weather balloon fiasco, Bart has to help Skinner with his amateur astronomy, which turns out is real dry and real boring, and Bart is not into it at all.
Oh, that sounds so terrible, yeah. Oh, I had a comment on that. Like, did you know anyone that had that bike generator type thing that Bart was using to get to school?
Yeah, so there's a scene where Bart's pedaling to school, and he flips a switch which drops a turbine, I guess technically you would call it, up against his wheel so that it generates power for his headlamp in the front. And I also wrote down, I don't know if that was a thing. I'm sure it was. I bet The Simpsons didn't invent that.
Yeah.
But I certainly have never seen or heard of that.
When I was 8 years old, joined the Olympia Sales Club, which is a complete scam in the back of kids' magazines and comic books where you sold stationery at inflated prices to buy, where you could earn points that you could exchange for gifts. And I hustled. I got all of it so I could get like this bike radio / noisemaker. Like it had like 12 different sounds built into it. And I got it in the mail and it never worked. It's just, and try return something to the Olympia Sales Club. It is not Amazon, my friends.
Oof.
That's a P.O. box in the Cayman Islands.
So this was just a way to get slave labor out of children?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect.
And
Selling
I remember
stationery.
And just so desperate to own things that I remember after getting burnt, I almost did it again. I think I'm gonna try that one. Maybe this is just. I think my mom threw away all periodicals when she heard me thinking about it again. Just
no more subscriptions to anything.
Yeah, just the first time I joined BMG, the music club, where I was like, "Mom, it's cool. It's 6 cassettes for a penny. I can afford that. There's pennies everywhere."
Yeah, and there's no downside or commitment.
We
all thought the same thing.
I am the outlier in the world of music clubs because I was a faithful customer to BMG. I knew the hustle well, so I always paid my bill. I just did it where I could maximize the amount of shit I would get for the dollar. I bet I joined BMG 14 times over my lifetime.
You were him. You were the one kid making that thing function while the rest of us just got our CDs and gave the catalog to the next person and then never thought of it ever again.
Yeah. Nope, I would. Yeah, I joined in the mid-2000s. I'm shocked it was still open.
Yeah, that's late. That's late to that party.
Yeah, it was 2005. I looked it up. I think both Columbia House and BMG ended around 2008.
Jesus. 2008. Good God. That means there were people still ordering from Columbia House or BMG catalogs when we knew who Obama was. Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Ooh, are you saying Obama maybe ended BMG and Columbia House? I like it. I like where you're going. Oh.
If he did, it's the one thing he ever actually changed in his whole fucking presidency.
Ooh, I like that hot take. Hot take. There we go. Now we're talking. He blew up a lot of people, though.
Sure did.
He's what passes as a Democrat nowadays.
Yep.
Just a slightly less evil Republican.
Yeah. sold us on left and ruled from the center.
Yeah, would have been a Democrat 35 years ago.
And was still easily the choice for me. Voted for him twice.
Oh, well, if we want to go down the road where Nathan's votes have been going.
Oh, boy.
It rhymes with Ralph fucking Nader. What up?
Every time.
Yeah, oh, man.
Every 4, baby.
Until it became prime time for Jill Stein time. What up?
Oh, so you throw your votes away.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, we all do it in North Dakota. Like, voting for any Democrat's throwing the vote away.
Yeah, that's true.
Because our system is completely terrible.
Yeah, everything's broken and on fire.
Burn it all. Including me. Burn me. I don't care.
This was my first time voting in Minnesota, so my vote actually counted for the first time in my life, and I'm 35.
Hey, we gotta fight the power, though, man. You gotta have a bunch of kids and raise them in North Dakota.
Pass on the kids' part.
30. Adopt a bunch, bro.
I don't want that either. I don't like children.
I can't make it seem like you would be the one birthing them. Like that was the issue. Like you don't gotta blow out that tight little body of yours. You can just. I want them holes pristine too, baby. That's what keeps this podcast going. You don't think there's dudes imagining you right now? I hope he washes his car a lot.
Oh boy.
People mailing you half teas. Just put it on, tell me how it feels.
Yeah, maybe you got some yard work to do, huh? No, I rent an apartment. Get out there in somebody's yard.
Oh, The Simpsons. Well, even for our standards, we're going off the rails.
So Bart has to help Skinner with his amateur astronomy. Do you know anyone, or have you ever known any? You ever know a weird telescope kid?
No, I always remember seeing telescopes like in like the big like Christmas like wish book, like the catalogs, like the Sears and JCPenney. I always remember, and they were kind of like, what kid is shooting his wad on a giant? That's like, don't they know Nintendos exist? Like, what are you doing? Like, you could buy that giant G.I. Joe space shuttle playset for the price of a telescope.
Yeah,
yeah.
I also knew no telescope kids.
Yeah.
I know one telescope adult, but no telescope kids.
It's like just, oh boy, more stars, yeehaw. Like have you played
more
Mario?
vast, endless space.
I just think those kids get a chance to play Mario 3 and it's all over. They're just like throwing their telescopes out of a moving car. Like, nope, done with this.
Yeah, stop pondering over the infinite vastness of the universe and ponder over why getting a leaf turns you into a raccoon. Like, those are the real questions that need answered.
Or you get the real weird, you get the Tanuki suit at the end, you become like a real kick-ass raccoon. Then you can also turn into a statue for brief moments. Remember that aspect of it?
Yeah. You got and Frog Suit's a game changer.
Yeah.
World 4, where everything's giant. You're like, what the fuck is happening? Who needs
that was
stars?
That's always where you loaded up on the goodies, because the giant Hammer Brothers there, instead of giving you something lame like a music box, they gave you P-Wings and Juglum's clouds. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. It's shocking I have ever touched a woman. The fact that I know words like, I know what the Juglum's cloud is by name.
Oh, God.
I used to know the name of the little fella that would fly around in the Juglum's cloud and throw spikies at you. I can't think of it.
Lakitu.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I wasn't gonna let you flounder. I had to speak up and out myself. I also am some freak when it comes to Super Mario characters.
Mario 3 is my favorite video game of all time.
Yeah?
It's so good. It's just perfect.
It's real good. I am a Mario 2 apologist.
I love it too.
Weird ass Mario 2.
Yeah. Just how, like, Princess all day, every day. That float could save you from so many mishaps. Like,
yeah, it's why you play as somebody else. I have no idea.
Yeah. I guess Toad and... Oh, man, this is turning into a Mario 2 podcast, which I'm not opposed to. I'm just gonna go into the minutia of the sand world and Toad's fast digging abilities, but
that helps.
Yep.
Luigi's weird float jump is not good.
It's like in World 5, I think there's that one level where only Luigi can jump high enough to get on top of that platform, and there's one of those potions that lets you advance to a new world. So Luigi pays off. But Mario is just the basic bitch of Mario 2. Like, he just does everything okay. Like, who wants that
There's nothing
as a kid?
special about Mario.
Yeah.
Mario's like Batman. He's the least interesting character in everything he's in.
Yep, very good point. That's a very good point, yeah.
We got here via telescopes. Bart is looking through Skinner's while Skinner chases after the giant Skinner butt balloon. And Bart discovers a new comet, and it turns out it is headed for Earth, which the town then wrangles up everybody into a town meeting. We get the professor again. Always good to see him. He has a plan to blow the comet out of the sky with a rocket. And we see that take place. The rocket misses, and it was real good joke writing here. Like, the Simpsons are all sitting on the roof, and Homer's like, I have a backup plan. If this doesn't work, we're going to take the only bridge out of town, and we'll be gone. And then they fire the rocket, it misses the comet, and blows up the bridge, which has a sign right next to it that says, the only bridge out of town.
Yeah, so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Homer takes his family to Ned's bomb shelter, because Ned has a bomb shelter in his backyard, and basically badgers Ned into letting them in, and they're just sitting there kind of waiting for the end of the world to come. And the entire town, seemingly, or at least most of the named characters who we know, show up at the door of the bomb shelter demanding to be let in. And Ned, being the softie, is like, okay, everybody in here. And most of the rest of this episode is just the whole town crammed into this bomb shelter. And it looks like a weird Where's Waldo picture. You're just looking at, oh, there's Mo, there's the doctor, there's Apu.
And the fact that there's actually Waldo. Waldo does make an appearance.
Oh, no shit. I didn't even see that.
Oh, dude, that's what I thought you were going for. Because my notes, it says nothing more 1994 than Where's Waldo showing up in the bomb shelter.
Oh, fuck no. I didn't see that at all.
Another real 1994 thing in this episode is when Bart gets roped into hanging out with the nerds since he discovered that comet. One of the nerds is into email, because in 1994 only real geeks used email or knew what it was.
Yeah, and now, to me anyway, email is a horrible hassle that I would like to never have to look at again.
It's like old-timey. It's it's like using a telegraph.
But it is the old timer of the internet. Like, it's it was the first thing, and now it's so passé. It's just like, why do I need an email address for everything? You're just going to send me garbage.
Exactly, yeah. Did you ever know anyone that owned a bomb shelter?
No. Not that I know of. If I had a bomb shelter, I probably wouldn't tell people for this very reason. Yeah.
When I lived in Nashville, some of my friends rented an old house that had a bomb shelter in the basement. It was just like a giant, like an 8 by 8 by 8 cement room with like a giant metal door. And they would just use it because the walls were thick, the echo inside was so trippy. They'd just get cooked to the gills and go yell at each other in the bomb shelter, freak each other out.
I do like you see them around town. You'll occasionally see like the bomb or fallout shelter plaque on some old buildings, where it's like, oh yeah, this is the place to go. Go to
this armory with
this
giant windows.
Used to be an armory, now it's a weird coffee shop downtown. Yeah, that's where we're going. We're gonna have nothing but biscotti and bad coffee when the apocalypse comes.
And little weird pastries that. Why don't they just get Long Johns or something people want to eat? Why do they always got to try to be fancy?
Nathan, not all of us always want a Long John. Sometimes
bullshit.
We want a biscotti.
I will call bullshit
or a nice
on that.
scone.
Everyone always wants Long Johns.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If there is probably not a single time where you would set a Long John down in front of me and I would say no.
Nope, I'm good. Nope.
But
Everyone's running
sometimes-
empty on Long Johns at all times.
Sometimes I want a cinnamon streusel muffin or a blueberry biscotti. Like, I'm not always, or a scone, a nice maple scone.
Oh my God.
Now,
Yeah, I
if there
can get
were
behind the
also,
maple.
if there were also a Long John there, I would probably eat that too. But sometimes I want something. Sometimes I want a nice croissant.
I think that's just big city living getting to you. You need to embrace your Long John roots.
You're right. I have forgotten who I am.
Where I come from.
I have forgotten the faces of my fathers. And
Here. When you go to the next bakery you go to, you see a reflection of all your uncles in the glass. when you're looking at the treats. I'll have 7 Long Johns.
And they'll nod approvingly and dissolve into transparency.
One of them's Yoda. That guy had a head injury or something. You want to know you want a hot Long John take?
I always want a hot Long John. We just discussed this.
I would prefer a chocolate over a maple.
I mean, both good, but I'm a maple person, period.
Yeah. Again, I will destroy a mountain of maple Long Johns, but
we've discussed before that you're not a filled Long John person. You want just a regular Long John.
Yeah, I mean, usually what I do is I bite the end off and squeeze the filling into my mouth, and then I enjoy the rest of the Long John without the filling. Which, there's been someone that's witnessed that in a truck stop parking lot and probably still can't forget it.
And if they ever did, they'd be devastated. It's what gets them through their days.
Yeah. Remember that fat guy that was eating Long Johns like he had a snake bite at him?
Remember that kid we watched squeeze Bavarian cream onto his face and then finished off that Long John? Wouldn't stop making direct eye contact.
I don't know. He didn't even put it in park. He just idled it through the parking lot. Bump into the fence that they keep the propane behind. The Simpsons.
The town is all crammed into Ned's shelter, and Homer can't get the door closed, so they have to kick one person out. And after much debate, wouldn't you know it, they choose Ned, the guy whose shelter it is. And on his way out the door, he looks at either Rod or Todd, whichever's the younger one, I don't remember, but I think it's Todd, looks down at Todd and says, I may go mad out there, and so if you hear me screaming a lot, I want you to shoot Daddy, and gives him a shotgun shell, and just walks out into his impending doom. And Todd, like, tearfully puts the shotgun shell in the barrel, prepared to kill Ned if need be.
He was very, prepared for it. This is something they've discussed as a family.
Yep, for sure. And Homer eventually is like, I can't let Ned die alone, and he leaves. And then Moe leaves, and eventually everyone leaves the bomb shelter, and they join Ned up on the hill as he sings Sirrah, Sirrah. And the comet is coming in, and it breaks up in Earth's atmosphere to where all that's left is one rock, and it hits the bomb shelter and destroys it. And the town, I believe it's Moe, is like, now let's go burn down the observatory so this never happens again.
Yeah, so great.
And the town mobs up and takes off, as they are wont to do.
Old-fashioned Simpsons mob. What a great way to end an episode.
Good episode. Like I said, a little weird. The high stakes. I kind of like the smaller Simpsons stories, I guess, but still very funny.
A little too goofy. I can see that.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Homer going to space one. It's like, really? This is what we're doing? Like, you guys can get just as many chuckles out of me without ever leaving the Simpson home.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I'm enjoyable, but not a memorable episode.
Yeah, it didn't set my world on fire.
An episode I did enjoy more would be the next episode, Homie the Clown.
maybe my favorite of this whole batch.
Yeah, this was fun. I love it starting out with like Krusty just knocking it out of the park.
Yep.
Just doing an insane little bike stunt. He hits the loop-de-loop. He consumes the tiny bike, which is, I mean, I think he already nailed it with the loop-de-loop, but he's a showman. That's why I don't have a TV show, Marlin.
Yeah, because you're not willing to eat bicycles.
Yeah.
I do love that it cuts right to the Simpsons kids being like, man, when he wants to, he can still do it.
Yeah. That was so great. Then it cuts to him being the jaded, once the cameras are off, he's the jaded, very troubled man that we've seen in many an episode where has a severe gambling problem, has a severe just money wasting problem. There's a great scene where he lights a cigarette off of an Action Comics #1.
Yep. Liked that one a lot.
Yeah.
And it's part of an ongoing gag, like he lights a cigarette with $100 bill, and then another one with Action Comics #1, and then another one with a string of pearls. Like he's just burning money.
Yeah. Never would have guessed pearls burnt that well, but I've never been a man of means, so I've never even... I almost feel bashful to say I've never tried to start pearls on fire.
You, of all people, knowing your very arsonist upbringing, I would have thought that you would be the go-to on what burns and what doesn't.
On what precious stones burn the best.
I don't know that I've ever seen a real pearl in person, because I assume every
doubt
time I
have.
see a string of pearls that they're fake. So
Yep, very good point, yeah.
I don't think I've ever known anyone who can afford real pearls.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't run in those circles, Nathan. I'm not a fancy boy, except when I'm in a coffee shop.
Yeah, when you're eating your cinnamon swirls, which coincidentally was also your nickname in high school.
Cinnamon swirls, you got it.
The high school wrestling team's bus slow rolled past a fancy coffee shop in Bismarck when you were 14. Is he wearing a beret? Oh no!
Oh, he's seen it.
My cover is blown.
Turn the wagon around.
So to read my beat poetry now. Picturing a 14-year-old you on stage with some lanky hippie playing a stand-up bass
while I read poetry.
You do your slam poetry.
Reading it to all my southwestern North Dakota peers.
Yeah.
Oof. Been kicked out of town that day.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what would be relatable. Like catching mange from the stray dog herd. That's always terrorizing town.
Just writing slam poetry about the things you know that are around you. It's just tumbleweeds and alcoholism.
Yeah. Dad never shuts the door when he shits. Well, the fan switch is right by the light switch, yet never turns on.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so yeah. So Krusty, again, is burning through all sorts of money, and finally it catches up with him. We get Fat Tony and his goons. So apparently Krusty has borrowed money from Fat Tony and has not been able to pay it back. So he's in trouble, and one of his financial advisors is like, hey, start a clown college. Just we'll have a bunch of, dime store Krusties that can do birthday parties and stuff like that. There was a great scene earlier, too, where Homer is stopping highway traffic because he wants to read all the new billboards.
Yep. It's the first of the month. It's new billboard day.
And is it Give Her English Muffins? Is
yep.
that one of
this
them?
year, Give Her English Muffins.
So I gotta assume you're a big English muffins guy.
I love English muffins.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe. Maybe I've even seen you order one. Maybe that's why it's in my head. I'd rather have white toast because I'm a white toast kind of guy. But every once in a while, a buttered up English muffin with some jelly or jam, that hits the spot.
I'm a pretty much if it's an English muffin and it's not a sandwich like with sausage and egg and cheese on it. If it's an English muffin just by itself, I'm just jelly. I'm not. Are you like a... Okay, are you a butter plus jelly person? Because I've never
absolutely.
understood that.
Oh, absolutely.
No, one or the other. Like,
Nope.
Like peanut butter goes with jelly, but regular ass cow butter, not going with jelly. It's disgusting.
I put butter on before I put peanut butter on. Like if I'm having peanut butter toast, you gotta double up that. Any excuse to eat more butter, bro. That's what it's all about. That's what I'm on this planet for.
So, just to be clear, it comes out of the toaster. You smear butter on it, and then peanut butter.
You got it.
Get out of my country. I won't.
And if I wanted to,
this.
if I was feeling frisky, I'd also put jelly on top of that.
So what? I don't understand.
And I am a butter moderate in my circles, in my family. Most of my family, they will put butter on bread before they make like a bologna and mayonnaise sandwich.
No, you don't. What is with the addition of butter? It doesn't. You don't need it, and
I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now.
Listen, it's not just
the addition of butter should be praised no matter what the meal. Yes, more butter. It's like, who wants a dollop of butter on their ice cream? Yes, please.
Oh my God. I've known people to put like butter and jelly, and that combination to me is stomach turning. Oh my God.
If it's I can go with you if it's like not toasted, like eating a butter and jelly sandwich. But if it's toasted and it melts it, oh yeah, that makes it. That's delish.
Nope, I can't follow you on this one.
Have you ever met anyone that puts butter on their steaks? I've known a couple families that do that.
I've known those people.
I would, if someone handed me a dollop of butter, I'd slam it down on that steak and enjoy it. But
like I've done it. You get a nice like garlic and herb butter at a steakhouse or something. I've definitely done it, but it's like it's unnecessary. It's to me, it's like a one gluttony step too far. Like I don't need this, and it's like if this is a good steak, I truly don't need this. This isn't necessary. So I'm always like, what are you trying to hide? What's in this steak?
I think this is some kind of Catholic guilt coming out. We got to up your decadence game a little bit. We're just drizzling butter all over everything.
I feel like my decadence game is just fine, but I don't...
My blood pressure shows that a lack of decadence is not an issue.
Yeah, it's not an issue whatsoever. My decadence... I will put peanut butter on ice cream. I'm not like my decadence is
that
fine.
That's going into deviance. That's against the will of God, my friend.
Oh man, peanut butter and ice cream. Mm-hmm.
Oh boy,
really fuck shit up. You had a nice.
I ain't gonna judge.
You had a nice double scoop bowl of some Rocky Road straight out of the cardboard box in the freezer, and then put a big old spoonful of peanut butter on it. Mm-hmm.
It's funny how little ice cream I've purchased as a fat man. You would think. Well, I mean, I will mess up a Dairy Queen drive-thru, but I very rarely ever bought it at the grocery store.
Oh yeah. See, like
I think I'm just like tapping out financially by the time I get to the ice cream.
By the time you get to the freezer aisle, you're done.
Shouldn't have bought so much Chef Boyardee.
Oh man, well I'm not going to take the SpaghettiOs back to that aisle.
I just put my hand on the glass door and longingly run it down, leaving finger trails in the condensation.
I'm not a Chef Boyardee guy either. Like,
oh my God, really? Yeah. See, I am a.
There's something about Chef Boyardee's or any of those canned fucking things. There's something about the meat in there, quote unquote meat. That brown
I'm just gonna say, I think
sawdust.
Meat is very. There's got to be an asterisk by that. Like
that being said, I will fuck up regular SpaghettiOs all day long, straight out of the can. I've never eaten them warm. I just eat SpaghettiOs out of the can like an animal.
Within the last few years, I recently purchased SpaghettiOs brand spaghetti and meatballs, and it's so subpar compared to the Chef Boyardee brand.
Even worse somehow.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe if you're just eating the rings, but like, yeah, I'm a weirdo, man. I get the Chef Boyardee spaghetti and meatballs. I don't know, man. That 2 cans of that is just a feast, and it's like $1.90. You just can't beat it if you're on a budget.
Yeah,
you were are punching your internal organs with every bite.
Yeah, in my poorer days, I would definitely slam 2 cans of cold SpaghettiOs and then lay around with debilitating heartburn the rest of the day.
Cold? I'm telling you, there's a deviant streak. I had misjudged you. You're a dirty boy, and I am into it.
Out of the can like a hobo. And never taking the top all the way off, bending it off to the side like a cartoon hobo. Just slamming those
drinking
O's.
Drinking SpaghettiOs. Get that circle of dried tomato paste around your mouth. Clean it. Wait so long that it'll peel off in one part.
Just a red circle around my lips. I love it. I haven't done it lately because I'm 22 days with no carbs or sugar, and I would stab somebody for a can of SpaghettiOs. But
oh yeah, it's the basic bitch foods that I miss the most.
That's the thing. I don't even miss good food. I miss frozen pizza and ramen noodles.
Yeah, or cereal, like a big bowl of cereal. Yeah. So let's not go down a sad food road. Hear 2 fatties cry over missing Hershey Kisses.
It's a weird episode this week. They just kind of meandered for 40 minutes and then cried about carbs.
Yeah. How much they miss chocolate. There's a great reference to the Cable Ace Awards. My brain is a trap of garbage, useless information. Somehow, I'd forgotten there used to be a separate awards for cable television programming.
Oh, is that what that is? See, I didn't know what they were referencing.
It was on the USA Network. That shows how prestigious it was.
Ugh.
And then I think it ended in the late 90s when cable got to go to the big boy table and they got nominated for Emmys and stuff. It was probably after I don't know if it lasted into The Sopranos, because once The Sopranos came out, it's holy shit, this is just as good, if not far better than what's going on network TV. So we kind of have to, got to let them get in on it. Now cable dominates everything, or streaming. Cable, wait, how old am I? Cable doesn't dominate shit. Maybe 10 years ago when AMC was knocking things out of the park, but those days are gone too now. Network
television or cable television is still. I don't think it's in the golden age that that run of FX shows and AMC, fucking Walking Dead and Breaking Bad. I think it might be out now of that golden age, but from what I understand, there's still very good television on cable.
Yeah. I never got into any of those FX. FX was kind of early to the prestige drama shows The Shield and Nip Tuck.
The Shield is the #1 television show of all time. I adore that. I have a tattoo from The Shield.
I have another friend that just swears by The Shield.
Yeah, Vic Mackey. Fucking Walton Goggins is so good in that show. Forrest Whitaker was around for a season. Glenn Close was in a season. That show is wonderful. I keep people always compare it to The Wire, which I've never seen, but God, do I love The Shield. Dude,
you need to treat yourself to The Wire.
Really? Because I feel like I got my gritty cop show already.
There's room for another. Man, there are episodes of The Wire that hit you so hard you need to take a week off from work. Holy, I need to lie down. I'm gonna just skip 2 days of work because I can't even make calls right now. On Wednesday, I'll call in hey, I'm not in for the rest of the week.
And it's I get what you're saying because there are episodes of The Shield that do the same thing to me. So. Maybe that's the next podcast is we watch episode per episode, one of The Shield, one of The Wire.
Yeah. Oh man. I would be sitting back with so much joy on this is going to hit him like a Mack truck.
Yeah. And I would be too. Oh man. That might need to happen. Nobody steal that idea. I'm going to cut all this out.
We copyrighted it, whatever that means.
Yeah, it's copyrighted. I'm going to write it down on a envelope and mail it to myself so it's stamped.
So Krusty's decided he has to start a clown college to build up some income, and Homer wants to become a clown. And he does. He signs up. He isn't half bad at it. He's got some clown and DNA in him, and he starts playing birthday parties. He plays Millhouses, and wonderfully dumb Millhouse thinks it's really Krusty.
Yeah, he's
so
like
great.
rubbing it in with Bart, just like, aren't you jealous? I got Krusty. Bart's just
my
like,
dad could get Krusty. He's like, I think I could get Krusty at my house too.
I love when Homer has to do that grand opening of the new Krusty Burger, or unveiling of the new type of burger. And they have like their equivalent of the Hamburglar there, and Homer just stomps him. Just beats the shit out of him.
So great.
And yet another like Simpsons meme origin. That's where we see the kid pointing and going, "Stop hitting him, he's already dead."
Yup, totally.
Yeah.
So great.
I love seeing where memes come from.
Yeah. I'm just realizing how much I enjoyed this episode when Homer's driving that garbage Krusty sedan and the wheel falls off and he crashes into that tree in the Millhouse's yard. Oh my God, I laughed. He flies through the windshield, lands right at the front step.
Yeah.
And they're all celebrating like that was part of the show.
And makes a balloon animal for Ralph, and it's just this knotted up, mangled balloon. It's just, here's your giraffe, little girl. And Ralph's like, I'm a boy. And Homer's response is, yeah, just keep believing. And like, what tells him, like, yeah, you can be anything you want. Oh, Ralph. We need more Ralph.
We get a flashback to the shoddy animation of season 1 when Chief Wiggum pulls over Homer and his hair is black.
Yeah, I noticed that too. A weird old Chief Wiggum showing up.
Yep. And this is kind of around the time Homer realizes there's a perk to people thinking you're Krusty, because you get out of things. You get things for cheap, and he's just living that dream, and he loves it. He loves it until he's kidnapped because they somehow... Krusty thought it was a great idea to put all the money he made on the clown college on betting against the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah,
which is so great.
I thought the Generals were due for one.
Another thing, put it up there with circuses and pro wrestling. How are the Globetrotters still a viable entertainment option? Like,
beats me. They're still out there.
And I love basketball, but like, it is the professional wrestling version of basketball.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's exactly what it is. Have you ever seen them? You ever go and see the Globetrotters?
Never have.
I did when I was a kid once, and I remember being like just enthralled. Like, yeah, this is fun. This is like watching pro wrestling. Because I knew at that point that it wasn't a real basketball game.
I think the Globetrotters, a lot like the band Kiss in the 70s, realized their bones weren't going to get made playing the major markets. The Globetrotters will come to Minot, man. They'll come to Dickinson. They'll play Miles City, Montana. They will go off the beaten path. Like,
yeah, they show up to they'll do a state fair. They ain't above it.
Nope. Yeah. And fun fact, probably like 10, I'm getting old, so years fly by, but it's probably like 10, 12 years ago, the Globetrotters got a new owner who wanted to make them like semi-competitive. So there was like an A team and a B team. Like they actually had a team that like played colleges and stuff, which I thought was fascinating. And they actually lost a game. They lost a game for like the first time in like 53 years. Like, because like back in the 40s and the 50s, the Globetrotters were a real team.
Yeah.
Like they were like a barnstorming. That's how sports were back then. Everything was in its infancy. So like the leagues were just kind of nebulous, like. So, but I think they lost like Michigan State, which is just what an awesome game to wander into. Like this is the most messed up episode of Scooby-Doo I've ever seen.
It would be weird to watch them, because they're obviously all skilled basketball players. It would be weird to watch them just play without doing any of their bullshit.
Yeah. You think about, you're watching them, they're the middle-aged man being silly and spinning the ball in their finger. At their peak, they were the greatest basketball players a town had ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, there are old men that talk about those guys when they were in high school. Like, that's how good those guys were. Like,
do you remember like what I assume or what I took at the time to be like an updated version of Harlem Globetrotters when you had all that like trick street ball like and one.
Yeah, the and one. Was it the and one or what was it called? The and one mixtape tour?
Yeah, something along those lines. And I think there were others too, but
a couple of those guys made the pros too.
I never.
Yeah, one guy actually was like a starting point guard for a while.
I never got to see it live or anything. It was just something you would see videos of in the early internet.
Yeah. See, I have too much dad, like middle-aged man basketball fandom. It's like the whole time I'm just like, they're palming the ball for crying out loud.
That's a travel. Blow the whistle. I feel like you feel about basketball the same way you also feel about pro wrestling, where you're just like, just get a headlock. What are you guys doing? Leaving your feet.
Yeah. Was there something wrong with a full Nelson? It worked for Ken Patera.
You guys too good for an ankle lock all of a sudden? All your flippy shit?
Yeah.
You and your fucking...
Nothing means anything.
You and your cornet-ass hot takes on wrestling.
I will not apologize. I'm not quite in the cult of Cornette because I don't despise modern wrestling, but I share a lot of the beefs that he has.
Mm-hmm. You just, if everyone was Dean Malenko or Stan Hansen, I think you would just live your life in joy.
Boy, yeah. I need a Ric Flair giant asshole in there too. I need someone I can despise.
But once it's in the ring, no funny business. We're not here to have fun.
I want someone to get hit with a roll of pennies and the place act like someone was murdered, like a snuff film happened in front of them.
People are calling the police.
This Tully Blanchard needs to be stopped. He's a menace. Speaking of menaces, Fat Tony and his goons finally catch Homer, who is loudly protesting that he is indeed Krusty the Clown, so they believe he's Krusty, and he's about to die at the hands of like the head of the mob family, but he's given the chance if he can make the loop-de-loop work on the mini bike, all will be saved. But of course he can't. He's never been able to do it. He's too husky for that. And in the last second, the real Krusty bursts in. So now we have a case of who's the real Krusty, and the old mafia boss is like, "Hey, I got an idea. How about I kill both of you?" Which is, that's how they've reached that level of power. It's the problem-solving skills.
Yeah, exactly. Just we'll just do it this way.
But they got one last chance, and in a pretty amazing sight gag where the two of them are on a tiny bike and they ride along the bar. They escape many certain chances of falling off the bike and somehow make the loop-de-doop work multiple times. And the bike is still consumed, and it is an amazing display. And the Mafia Don is brought to tears. And they lived to clown another day.
Yeah. They just by impressing the Don, just because I love that aspect of all this. Like, I can't shoot you. I like you too much. So, like, please just do a trick.
Yeah. Homer's the one time in the clown school when he tries to hit the ramp and the ramp just ramps around him.
Yeah.
He just sheepishly drags the metal ramp away.
Or the one where he gets his pant leg caught in the chair in the gears of the bike and it just slowly pulls his pants all the way down.
Yep.
Some good sight gags in this fucking clown episode.
Very good episode.
Yeah, probably my favorite of the bunch for sure. Do you think, and I thought this while I was watching it, do you think they wrote this episode just to address the fact or draw attention to the fact that Krusty and Homer, from an animation standpoint, are practically the same cartoon?
Yep. It's like the only difference is like Krusty's got like bags under his eyes. Besides that, yeah.
Yeah, they're just the same. An artist sits down and draws those two exactly the same.
And instead of having 3 strands of hair, Krusty's got the little puff of
the little
curly
green
hair
puff
on top. Yeah.
Episode 16 was maybe what I thought to be the strangest one of the batch. This is Bart versus Australia. Starts off, I did note the chalkboard gag, which I thought was funny, which is Bart writing over and over again the phrase, "I will not hang donuts on my person."
Yeah.
Like,
Which is
that's a
something you sure hope you don't have to tell a child.
yeah. The delinquency is really ramped up in that one in particular. That's a crime.
It's funny that you were commenting on this, because you know what I commented on? I never noticed that the magazine that Marge is reading at the checkout line is Mom Monthly.
Yep, Mom Monthly.
Which I enjoyed. Well, did your mom like subscribe to any mom magazines growing up? I know mine had a couple.
I don't think so. Like, I could be misremembering, but there might have been some manner of, like, Home and Garden magazine.
Yeah. So I remember...
But that's
like,
probably
Red
it.
Book. I think it was Red Book and Family Circle, I think was the other one. A couple of those. One thing about those magazines, they are 90% advertisements, which I think is great.
I think that's magazines in general, isn't it?
Except Mad. Mad was all about the no ads in Mad.
Huh. That I didn't know.
I thought it was because what's his name? Gaines. I can think of his first name. The guy that helped create Mad. His whole thing was, if we're going to satire things, we can't be beholden to anybody. So we're not taking money from anybody, which I thought was, that's noble.
Fair. And good, good. Stick to your principles.
God, man. So we still got the Globetrotters, we still got circuses, but we can't have Mad Magazine anymore. Like,
Okay, like, someone who, like, to me, Mad is knockoff SNL. So I know the show, but nothing about the magazine. Like, if you got a Mad magazine and you flipped it open, what is even in there?
You're probably going to get a couple, like, movie, like, goofs, like movie satires, or it's like playing off. It's just satire on top of satire. There's going to be some hot political takes. There's going to be a spy versus spy 1-page comic. There's a few regulars. There was like I can't think of the name of the artists now. Like, well, that's the thing with Mad. They all kind of started passing away in the 90s, but Mad had the same artists for the half a century that did the same. And then in the last page, you obviously got the Mad fold in. Like, that was, which I always thought the amount of work something like that must have taken is just, it's hard to fathom. I think he might have just passed away, the guy that did, I know there was like Al Jaffe. I can't remember if Al Jaffe did the Mad fold in, but yeah. End of an era.
Like,
a lot of biting political takes for a magazine aimed at kids, which I always thought was kind of cool.
And these, like, movie satires and all this, like, in what form? Are they just articles? Are they...
Nope. Like a comic book almost. Like,
okay.
Like an 8-page play-by-play of the movie with, like, the characters, where the characters are, like, saying backhanded things about the movie itself, or, like, that kind of stuff. Like...
Okay. Yeah, I just never knew what the hell was in there.
Yeah. I was always more of a Cracked man, but I also did own many Mad magazines, too. I owned a lot of, like, rummage sale purchase Mad collections in, like, little paperback book form, like, probably like a dozen of those. So I'm, like, laughing at Spiro Agnew jokes from, like, the late 60s, which I don't get any of the references.
But you're just laughing because you know that it's supposed to be funny. So.
And the drawing of him is silly. It's like, look at that.
Look at that guy.
He's got a big beak for a nose.
Bart in this episode starts off, he's obsessed with the way the water circles the toilet or the drains, and Lisa explains to him that in the southern hemisphere it's the other way around, and he, being a stubborn asshole, is like, doesn't believe her and goes about calling all these countries in the southern hemisphere to, like, try to prove her wrong, essentially. And he racks up all these long-distance bills. There's some good sight gags of him calling all of these places. Like, I forget which Latin American country it is, but he's talking to, like, a dictator, and it gets lost in translation, and the dictator thinks that he's saying that the rebels are coming, and he jumps out the fucking window, like... Solid sight gags.
Yeah. Hitler just meandering around Argentina, which I thought was...
Yes, I forgot about that one. Driving a Mercedes, because...
He's Hitler.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
And then eventually he calls, he gets a hold of an Australian lad after Lisa says, you can't, these are so expensive, these phone calls. So he calls collect to this kid in Australia and makes up some story about being with the Department of Drains or something along those lines, and asks him to check out, you know, what direction they flow. And the kid comes back and tells him clockwise, and he says, go to your neighbors and check them too. And they show the kid set the phone down and then just pedal off into the distance because it's fucking Australia.
Yeah.
They're out in the outback, clearly.
Yeah.
And like 6 hours later, the kid comes back and tells Bart that, yeah, they drained the same way, and Bart has completely forgotten that this was even a thing he was worried about, and hangs up the phone.
Yeah. He's getting a late night snack, and he hears the voice of the kid on the...
And the Australian kid's dad comes home and is pissed upon seeing his phone bill because he's like, did you accept a 6-hour collect call from America? It's like $900.
Yeah, it's so great.
And Homer is doing the same thing in America, looking at all the long-distance calls that Bart racked up to all these countries, and is like, I better go tell Marge about this. And then his brain, like he's talking to himself in his own head, just like, no, you probably did it and forgot. Just write him a check and I'll release some serotonin. And he writes the check, and while he does, he just goes, yeah. Like, gets that sweet brain chemical.
That's the stuff.
I love that he's like, full on, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, but then convinces himself that no, I probably did this because I'm an idiot.
See, this is the dumb Homer that I like. I really get a kick out of this level of dumb Homer.
Someone from the so Bart is getting all these bills in the mail and just keeps putting it off and ignoring them. And eventually Lisa informs him that, like, we gotta talk to Mom and Dad about this. A representative from the State Department shows up and explains that, like, Australian and American relations are on the rocks because we briefly were obsessed with Australia in the 80s, and then none of it, maintained. And that things have been tense between the two countries ever since. Yeah. There's some good bits of, like, here's Crocodile Dundee and Koala Blue jewelry, I believe. And one is the Yahoo Serious Festival on the marquee of a theater. And Lisa goes, I know all three of those words, but that doesn't make any sense.
I'm trying to think of the movie that Yahoo Serious starred in. Was it Young Einstein or something like that?
I have no idea. I know the name and that's it. I have never seen the guy do anything.
And was that Koala Blue? Was that something that's real?
I think so.
Is it interesting?
Be wrong,
yeah.
But I want to say it was like a jewelry brand. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah.
Or some manner of apparel.
See, yeah, that was news to me, but I figured it must have been real because Crocodile Dundee's real, Yahoo Serious is real. So I think a shout out to listener Damien. I think him and I went to Crocodile Dundee 2 in the theater when we were like 8 years old.
I've never seen the second one, but I remember being a child and really liking the first one.
Yeah, they're perfectly... If you want to watch a movie where an Australian outback dude is in Los Angeles, you get what you paid for. You're getting it.
If I'm not mistaken, the character of Crocodile Dundee is based on a real dude. If I'm not... I could be wrong, but I think that's true.
I think the actor's name is Paul Hogan, for those scoring at home.
Paul Hogan also in a fun Western movie alongside Cuba Gooding Jr. called Lightning Jack.
I was just going to say, isn't Cuba Gooding Jr. a mute? He can't talk?
Yep, he can't speak in that movie. And Lightning Jack is like a fancy gunslinger.
Yeah.
That's all I remember about that movie.
If you get nothing else from this podcast, remember the fact that we somehow brought up Lightning Jack. I bet Cuba Gooding Jr. doesn't remember making that movie.
Nope. Probably neither does Paul Hogan, and he hasn't made that many of them.
Lightning what?
I bet we are the one podcast in the world, and there are 50 million podcasts. I bet we're the only ones where Lightning Jack gets mentioned this week.
Yeah, there we go. I expect to see a spike in downloads.
Well, I think we've only, in all 24 weeks we've done this show, I think we've got 2 downloads in Australia. They're not fans.
Oh, come on. That seed's getting planted now. They were just waiting for this episode. They wanted to hear our hot takes.
They're waiting to see if we knew Lightning Jack.
I know little of your culture, but what I know, I enjoy very much.
Yeah, I
enjoy
want to visit
Outback Steakhouse.
Oh, boy.
I'm a big fan of Aron Baynes. He's an MB. Oh, Aron Baynes, please contact us. You're the perfect guy to contact us. He's an Australian professional basketball player, which there aren't many of. Luke Longley. I think we've mentioned Luke Longley before. Reach out to us if you're a professional basketball player from Australia. We'd love to hear from you.
Now
Aron spells his name Aron, which he's an iconoclast. They're throwing norms out the window.
Boy, asking for Australian professional basketball players is a level of specificity I never thought we'd get to. And here we are.
Yeah.
So they, what they need to do to smooth out American-Australian relations on behalf of the State Department is go to Australia and have Bart apologize to the Australian people. Which they've decided is good enough for them. So the Simpsons go to Australia. Bart immediately lets out a bullfrog that he brought with for some reason, and it hops off into the distance in order to come up later. They're hanging out in a pub, and everyone's slamming Fosters. I feel like there's a lot of pokes at Australia in this episode.
Very much so.
Because, everyone's drinking all the time. It's always Foster's, which, from what I understand, is not really a thing in Australia.
Yeah. Kind of like Corona isn't a big thing in Mexico.
Right. And Bart has a little Swiss Army knife, and this is a line I've heard before, but didn't know where it came from. Didn't even know it was from The Simpsons. He's playing with a Swiss Army knife, and a guy walks up and does the Crocodile Dundee. You think that's a knife? This is a knife, and pulls out a spoon. And Bart's like, no, that's a spoon. And the guy puts it away and kind of gives him a nod, just like, I see you've played knifey spoony before.
Yeah, it's so great.
And then walks off, okay, all right. But I got to laugh out of that because I was like, I know that line. I have friends who have said that line in conversation, and I didn't even know it was from The Simpsons.
Nor did I. Yeah, I've heard it before as well.
Bart eventually goes to their House of, I guess, Parliament, their government building, whatever it might be. Marge and Lisa peace out, and they go do something else. But Homer and Bart go in there, and Bart apologizes, and they're like, okay, you did that, now you have to get your actual punishment, which is to be kicked in the ass with this giant boot.
Yep. Which totally, I bet around the same time was when that it was in the news that kind of rich kid, American rich kid, got arrested for something in Singapore, and he's about to be caned.
Yeah, that was my thought too. I was like, I bet this is around that time.
Yep.
So it's just a guy in a giant boot, which Homer's like, you fuckers set us up, and takes the boot off of them, and they escape. They run past the souvenir shop where Marge and Lisa are, and bullfrogs have overrun the souvenir shop.
That's so great.
And the owners are like, what the hell is with these frogs? Lisa wants a didgeridoo, which I can't blame her for, because didgeridoos are fucking dope.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique sounding instrument.
Yeah, I heard didgeridoo once referred to several years ago as analog dubstep, and can't think of it any other way now.
That's pretty good.
Bart Buckles finally just kind of breaks down and decides that he will take his booting like a man and take it on behalf of America, patriotically. He's looking at the flag and so, he's really having an America moment here. And he goes out to the fence of the American embassy and bends over to let the prime minister kick him in the ass. And at the last second, pulls away, drops trow, and he has "Don't Tread on Me" written across his ass cheeks. And then I believe hums the national anthem while he does it. And the Australians, no big fan of this, and they overrun the American embassy. The Simpsons have to evacuate via helicopter. And
shades of the fall of Saigon, I think, is what that was supposed to reference to.
Oh, okay. That I didn't know. I had no idea.
One nice touch too in the Australian mob, at the back of the mob, is one of the guys, like the goons from the movie Road Warrior.
Yes, there's a Road Warrior goon in there. Yep.
Yeah.
Man,
I thought that was a nice touch.
I fucking love those movies. Both Mad Max and Road Warrior, and kind of, but to a lesser extent, Beyond Thunderdome.
I have seen Beyond Thunderdome since I was a little kid. Road Warrior is on the short list of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah,
like,
Road Warrior is
top
amazing.
10. It's so good. It's so effing good.
Yeah, I adore that movie. Mad Max also. Like, it's very different, you know? Like,
oh, man.
Mad Max was one of those, like, I had heard of Mad Max and Road Warrior for years, and then watched Mad Max. And Mad Max isn't, like, wastelandy yet in the way that
it's just
Road
ominous.
Warrior
It's like it's on its way.
Yeah, it's like well on its way, or shortly into the apocalypse. But you watch it for Toe Cutter. Fucking Toe Cutter is so good in that movie. The villain, and then the same villain or the same actor is the guy who fucking 30 years later plays a Morton Joe in Fury Road.
Yep.
You'd never know it because he's under the mask and all the makeup, but same actor. Fury Road also on my short list.
God, I could stand. I don't own many movies, but Road Warrior is one I wouldn't mind owning, just so I can pop it in whenever I want.
Yeah, that's what I do with Mad Max. I have Mad Max purchased on Fury Road purchased on my PlayStation, and I will occasionally just fire that up while I'm doing fucking house chores.
Yeah,
that movie's
Good.
perfect.
Yep.
I saw that movie.
It's a 90. I heard someone call it a 90-minute action scene, like as an insult. I'm like, that's what I wanted.
Right.
Like,
where's the
I
insult?
wanted 90 minutes of exactly. Like, I don't watch movies like that for the a gripping detail of the human condition. I want balls to the walls insanity the whole time. Like,
Charlize Theron being a fucking absolute badass.
Yeah, channeling her inner Ellen Ripley.
Yep. God, that movie's fucking good. All of the designs on the vehicles. That movie's perfect. It's so good.
It's pretty cool.
So on their way, they hop in the helicopter, and on their way to wherever they're going, I believe out to they mention it, a laundry ship that's going to take them home. They look down, and the frogs are completely out of control. They're devastating all the crops. Like, this is like exactly the reason you can't bring outside wildlife to another country. And then they're laughing about it, like, their crops are getting devastated, haha. And then it pans down to reveal that a koala has stowed away on their helicopter.
Yeah, it's just the closing in on the koala's like soulless eye was so good.
Real dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good one. Again, like big high stakes, like kind of a big Simpsons episode. But that one I really enjoyed quite a bit, actually. But it did seem like weirdly antagonistic towards Australia for no reason.
There's a xenophobic streak through.
Yeah,
we see what their distaste for the French.
Yeah, we've seen how the Simpsons feel about the French, and apparently
we get to more about
Australia.
The next episode's we get more into the realistic, like, life of the Simpsons family type, more believable, less big stakes.
Yeah, just a nice small Simpsons episode.
Yep. Homer versus Patty and Selma. Homer thinks he's made it rich by investing all the Simpsons money in jack-o'-lanterns or pumpkin futures.
Yep.
I love when they cut to his like economic advisor, like, you always got to sell before Halloween.
Yeah, when he's explaining it in the bar, passing out cigars and shit, like, I'm gonna, it's gonna really peak out, I think, in January, and I'll cash in. It's like, oh, this is not gonna go well at all.
Yep, so great. So he can't pay the mortgage, and he's panicking, and he doesn't know where to go. Like when he calls Las Vegas and bets on red, like over the phone,
and not to a person, just hello Vegas, $100 on red.
It's like, and how quickly the wheel spins. It's black. I'll send you a check.
Yep, I'll send you a check. So good.
So great. So he does the one thing he is loath to do is borrow money from Patty and Selma. But I'm kind of jumping ahead. Early on, they're at the house celebrating a new promotion, and they do something to make Homer angry. He's going to try to throw them out, but they latch onto the couch. So he just pushes the whole couch. It's almost like a Flintstones.
Yeah, drags the couch onto the lawn and dumps them out of it.
Yeah. And probably the hardest I laughed at during this is Marge comes outside to like console the sisters. Like Homer doesn't mean to be rude. He's just a complicated man. And then he pokes his head out of an upstairs window and goes, wrong, and he smashes a plate over his own head. Jesus, I won't die laughing. Oh, so good.
Oh, God.
Another great scene was when he knows he has to break the music to Marge, and he's like, looks at Marge, he just pictures the queen that he sees in his mind, and then Lisa walks by, just as lovely little princess, and Bart walks by, he goes, oh, rat boy. So great. Rat boy. He's chewing on the door frame.
Yeah, and Marge has to be like, I've told you not to gnaw on the drywall.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So he realizes he's got to go with his tail between his legs and borrow money from Patty and Selma, who get great joy in it because now Homer's basically their indentured servant.
Yeah, they own Homer now.
He's on corn and bunion duty. Just never what you want to be on.
Me being Hollywood, I've mentioned before, no corns, no bunions. I'm living a clean foot life over here.
I'm not sure if I know what a corn and or bunion are, so hoping I don't have. I mean, I got some rough, calloused. Like right now, my heel has a crack in it that makes walking hurt.
Oh, jeez. You got to lotion those bad boys. What are you doing?
That's the thing. I have not purchased lotion as an adult, I don't think.
Before you go to bed, slather some lotion on that bad boy and put a sock on and then go to bed.
Holy, you are describing one of my other nighttime activities to a T. Sounds like you just made you put a rubber glove in that sock. You made yourself a jail box, my friend. I'm liking the sounds.
Jesus Christ.
See, the sock is so you have good grip, because the outside of that glove gets slick and you're done for.
God damn it.
You can kind of jam it between the box spring and mattress if you want, but who wants to get on their knees, Like,
oh, I was just trying to give you legitimate skincare tips. I didn't expect you
I'm trying to give you skincare.
No,
so you can hit the skins with confidence, my friend.
Damn it.
You practice on that jail box, you get that lathered up with some coconut butter. You ain't gonna need a lady.
Boy, do I want you to stop.
I watched an amazing thing. It was like back in the olden times when MTV still had musicians on it, and it was like The Rock Show, and they were interviewing Stone Temple Pilots, and that was right after Scott Weiland got out of prison. And it's like they had talked about it before. Obviously, MTV wasn't aware of it. Like, Scott, did you learn anything in prison? And they're like, yes, I did. I learned how to make a jail box. And they're like, and the guy's like, well, explain to me. And he quickly goes into very detail on how you make a fake vagina with coconut butter, a towel, and 2 different rubber gloves. And they quickly cut to a video. The shit-eating grins on everyone else in the band's face because they knew it was coming was so great.
I'd love the idea of that interviewer having to pull the ripcord, like, and we're going to go to commercial. Come back, we'll talk about the Shangri-La album.
Say, that's what they were. No, I bet they were promoting the number 4 album. I'm an unapologetic Stone Temple Pilots fan, so I have these kind of details down.
STP's good. Mm-hmm. I just know Shangri-La right off the top of my head because it's that was the first time I ever heard the Stone Temple Pilots was Days of the Week.
Very catchy song. Such a good song.
Yeah, it is.
So let's transition from Stone Temple Pilots to another 90s cultural hit, The Simpsons.
Look, man, you're getting these segues down. You'll be a real deal broadcaster here in no time.
Got them skills. I love when Patty and Selma make Homer walk around on all fours and he has to talk like a dog.
Which is just starting everything with R, like Astro.
Yep, exactly. How in character he is. Oh, so good.
Yeah, he does what's asked of him with nearly no pushback.
Yep. He gets cucked pretty easy. Oh, another fun side story is this. Bart decides to play hooky on the worst day ever because apparently in Springfield Elementary, gym classes are very specific. So you have to sign up for a sport. And since he showed up late that morning, he had to take ballet, which he's a man's man.
Nothing else was available anymore. Yep. Everything, all the classes had filled. Is that a real thing?
I don't think so.
It certainly wasn't where I come from.
No, that's like fancy private school stuff, I'm guessing, yeah.
Okay.
And you could kind of see it coming a mile away. Bart was actually going to find out he actually enjoys ballet. And Lisa's proud of him because he's trying something new and doing something against the norm. And he loves it. He gets very good at it. And they have a school presentation. He's the masked dancer. And he just knocks it out of the park. And then at the end, he pulls off the mask and it reveals it's Bart, and he lets him know that you can do whatever you want, just follow your passions. The bullies all stand up and promptly chase him outside.
Having just previously been into it.
Just enthralled by it. They loved it.
Yeah, and then once they realize it's Bart, now they hate it.
Yeah, and they chase him, and they don't have to hurt him because Bart falls into a ravine and seriously injures himself. And Nelson pokes him with a branch. Like, nope, he's hurt pretty bad.
Yeah,
just shrug their shoulders and leave.
Yeah. I really liked that entire B story of Bart getting into ballet, except the beginning. You really gotta grit your teeth and get through a lot of mid-90s gay jokes there in the beginning.
Oh, I don't know why I don't remember that.
Oh man, it was everywhere. Like the teacher being like, welcome to ballet. This year we're doing the fairy queen. You can be a queen or a fairy. Those are your two choices. It's
that's how innocent
guys.
I am. I didn't even think of it in the gay and like as an anti-gay. I was like, oh, that's two things little girls are into. So Bart won't want to do that. Oh,
yeah. They use the word sissy a lot in the first half of this episode in a way that I was like, there's, like we've said before, there's not a lot in The Simpsons that is like cringy looking back, but that whole bit was, I was like, okay, guys.
I love that Lisa comes up and comforts him and like gives him a kiss, like I'm proud of you, and she leaves. And Bart's like, why are you leaving? I obviously need medical attention. Was a great joke.
Yeah, why would you leave?
And during the whole time to try to raise more money, Homer picks up a side gig as a chauffeur. And he's not very good at it, and he gets pulled over, and it's very clear he doesn't have a chauffeur's license, so he has to take the test. And guess where Patty and Selma work? The DMV.
Yeah.
And they take great joy in failing him, and during their reveling in his failure, the regional manager of the DMV comes in and notices that somebody's smoking, and that could, if that was Patty and Selma, that could lead to them getting demoted. But Homer grabs the cigarettes and pretends like he was the one smoking them. He would
Both of
love
them.
to see Patty if he had double hitting the ciggies. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't see people double fisted smokes too often. That's a unique take.
And he's like, yep, they're mine. It was me. I'm in flavor country.
That's just so great.
Such a good line.
Yep. And like, well, why? Thank you so much for helping Patty and Selma. Like, well, I wasn't helping Patty and Selma. I was helping you. He's like, and that's Marge lets him know, hey, this is what Homer has a lot of faults, but in the end, he always has our best interest in heart, and it's kind of a nice little ending. Patty and Selma realize maybe they're a little too hard on Homer, and the whole thing with like okay, well, thank you so much. Okay, so the debt's forgiven, and they're like, no, well, and they don't really give an answer. He just, okay, the debt's forgiven, bye.
Yeah, and runs
and it's
off.
just those two standing there in silence, and then the camera just cuts. It's such a great ending.
There's a great bit earlier. It's when Marge finds out about the fact that he borrowed money from Patty and Selma, and Homer's like, well, now she knows, and he can finally be rid of them, and he throws one of them out the door, and then throws Marge out the door before being like, oh, wait, and runs and picks her up and brings her back in the house like, oh, sorry, Marge, and then throws her other sister out.
Yep. So great, yeah.
I love that Homer got confused and threw his own wife out of the house.
Very good episode.
Yep, dug that one quite a bit. The last one I also was a fairly decent fan of. I don't have a lot of notes on this one, but I did enjoy this one quite a bit.
Yeah, one thing about this was kind of a hot take in the Simpsons world, because there was some dissension amongst the ranks of the creatives behind this. And
Really?
Yeah, Matt Groening wouldn't even have his name attached to this episode. If you notice in the credits, he refused.
I didn't. Why?
Yeah.
What's his problem?
Because there was some drama about, because it was kind of Matt. He removed because he felt it was just one big advertisement for The Critic, which Fox had just picked up from ABC. He felt it was just kind of forced, like. Which, I mean, I can kind of. I enjoy this episode, but I can kind of see what he means. It's like the whole like critic thing does kind of feel shoehorned in.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. And, like, the critic certainly got more out of this episode than The Simpsons did.
Totally,
you
yeah.
know?
But
they didn't need the critic's help.
For me, it bugged me more if I didn't enjoy the critic, but I enjoy the critic. And I enjoyed the work of John Lovitz.
They also, like, I feel like Matt Groening's feelings would be counteracted by the fact that they kind of take some shots at the critic, and this episode in particular within the episode.
Yeah, I'm guessing that was kind of like a protest thing, like amongst the writing staff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's guys trying to stay in the Groening camp of like, hey, I wrote that joke where we shit on the critic.
Yeah. Do you still love me?
Yeah, please love me, Daddy Groening.
I don't want to steal your thunder on the intro, but it starts with the eye on Springfield, which is great.
Oh my God.
They're very sensationalistic.
I got it written down right at the top. Eye on Springfield intro.
The phenomenon of back then, every like hot babe wore those bikini bottoms that like the waistband goes to like to their on the hips, goes up to their rib cage. What a unique phenomenon in swimwear. Like,
the
why?
American Gladiators bottoms.
Yeah, very good description. And there's the rapping rabbis, which is just another hallmark of The Simpsons, showing the show was created and written by middle-aged white baby boomers.
Yep.
In their head, rap is just this silly fad, like disco duck or something like that. Like
It makes me yearn to find out, like, if there are any rap jokes in current Simpsons, what they even sound like. You know what I mean?
It's the same. Like, I hope they still think rap is just someone going, I'm insert name here, and I'm here to say.
Here to say, yeah. I would be curious. Guess what? We'll find out.
We will find out.
2 years. So yeah, we get the great Eye on Springfield intro, and what the fuck's the Kent Brockman, that's his name. Kent Brockman is reporting on a new American survey that puts Springfield at the bottom of the list of every American city in like every category.
Yeah.
They don't like the Springfield's culture, nothing. And the one of the things they failed in was education, and they show them burning Mr. Skinner at the stake. Oh, so good. So they hold a town meeting in order to try to figure out what they got to do to kind of change their image and get some positive light on Springfield. And what Marge suggests, and the town ended up going with, is a film festival, a Springfield Film Festival. And and wouldn't you know it, she's got a plan for who she wants to invite to the festival, and it's the critic, Jay Sherman. Weird to see him yellow. Like nothing else is different about his animation except that he's yellow.
Yep, he just got that Simpsons tint.
Yeah. We show the critic on television just shitting on McBain, which I thought was very funny.
Yep.
And then Sherman then later runs into McBain out on the street and decides, yes, I will go do that Springfield Film Festival just to get away from McBain, essentially.
I think they kind of poke fun to it. Like, this is around the time Arnold Schwarzenegger was kind of trying to mix in a few comedies with his movies, so I thought that was a nice touch. Yeah,
they show him just like doing bad stand-up and shooting hecklers in between jokes.
That's the joke.
And he when they cut back to the interview with Sherman, he's just like, it's just me against a brick wall for 90 minutes and it cost $85 million or something like that. So good. I like when they take shots at Schwarzenegger through McBain. Except that one time they tried to badmouth Last Action Hero, which I won't have.
Got you a little salty.
Oh, the movie's so fucking good. So Jay Sherman, the critic, comes to Springfield to judge the film festival, and he and Homer at odds the whole time. Like, they're just butting heads, because of course they are, because they're both the star of their own television show.
Yeah.
When Sherman first shows up, Bart is sitting watching television, and an advertisement comes on for tonight. The Simpsons or the Flintstones meet the Jetsons, and Bart's just like, "Oh God, some cheap television crossover episode." And then the critic walks in.
And thus begins the plug for the critic.
I just like that they cut that joke of God, these always suck, and then, oh yeah, this is what we're doing.
Yep. Get ready.
They're at the theater, and they're presenting all the films. Hans Molman's is Homer's favorite, which is just a man getting hit in the balls with a football. Which Homer is a huge fan of. That scene of him laughing goes way too long.
Nice. So great.
The clear winner of the festival is Barney Gumble, who made this like bleak black and white art house film about alcoholism. Yeah.
Oh man, well done. Was it? Don't cry for me. I'm already dead. That Rose dying in that Duff bottle. Like, wow.
Yeah. Oh,
who knew?
Spot on. It was so good.
Oh, and I don't mean to jump back, but when you're talking about Homer losing it about how much he enjoyed the football, when he goes, just give him the $10,000. Like, this isn't America's Funniest Home Videos, which, did you know, is still on the air.
Why? Is it just, like, it has to be just clips from YouTube now,
it
right?
Totally is. And now it's hosted by Carlton from Fresh Prince.
No shit. Really?
Yeah.
When did they get rid of poor Tom Bergeron?
I don't know. I think there's maybe been someone...
Is Tom Bergeron okay? What's he doing?
Check on Tom Bergeron. In its peak, when Bob said that was like a top 3 ratings on all of television. Like, is that crazy to think of? That like something that basic was that. I mean, it shouldn't surprise us.
That's the thing. It should have been a good indicator of like. Oh, this is what entertainment is going to be. Like, no one should be surprised by YouTube.
That we
because
are
we
a
all
country.
grew up with AFV.
We're a country of Homers that think that's just the highest level of art.
and we like, home videos more than we like actual produced things.
Yep.
Like, I bet the argument could be made that America's Funniest Home Videos is what led to reality television and then YouTube.
I could see that.
I bet between that and Cops, I bet you could plot a course to reality TV and YouTube. I never liked Cops. I've seen maybe 3 episodes of Cops. I'm like, this is fucking
I enjoyed
boring.
it as a kid. Like, I was
It's
at
like-
someone's house and it was on. But again, we never had Fox. I think I also enjoyed it because it was always Saturday night. And it was early on Saturday night. So that kind of meant, hey, good times are still ahead. Cops is just wrapping up. It's 8 o'clock. Still got plenty of night left.
Yeah, it was never my thing. I'm like, it's boring, and then it's sad, and then it's boring again, and then there's a commercial. Like, I get zero enjoyment out of Cops. So they watch all the movies. One is a Burns biopic, which is super self-aggrandizing. Yeah. Like, he's portrayed as Jesus, kind of.
Truly are the King of Kings.
Oh my God. And everyone hates it. Like, everyone in the audience is like, oh, God,
sees
this
through
egotistical prick. So the film jury goes and meets, and they're discussing who they think should win. Homer really digging his feet in on this man hit with football video. And eventually, they do kind of convince Homer that it is Barney who should win this. And Barney does. Barney wins the film festival. They show Burns being dismayed. And then they cut to, later, and Burns is at the Oscars. So he just leapfrogged into being in the Oscars. And he loses to George C. Scott doing Man Hit with Football.
Yep. Oh, I did like, too, that Bart's video was the eternal struggle, and it was just Homer trying to put on a pair of pants. Just, as a fat man, hit close to home.
He's just like, relax, fit my ass. Like, and then realizes, oh, the belt was buckled, and unbuckles it, but it doesn't help him at all. It's still a problem.
So great. Yeah.
Still can't get his pants up. Yep, that was like, we all been there, homie. We've all been there. Just buy new pants.
Yeah.
You can tell yourself that you'll fit into them better someday all you want. Buy new pants.
That's all you got to do.
And that's the end of the episode. It just ends with George C. Scott getting hit in the balls with a football. And
Barney's movie won. Justice was served.
They do send Jay Sherman back to New York on his flight, and they're like the last dig they take at the critic. He's like, if you ever want to come by and be on my show, and Bart real flatly is just like, no, we're not.
Nope.
We'll never do that.
That will never happen.
Going to do that. Like, just one last one.
Yeah, that's not a thing we will do.
Yeah, I love that he's just just flatly. No,
Nope.
we would never do that.
No thanks.
Yeah, because again, The Simpsons don't need that the way the critic did.
Yep.
It's weird maybe it's not that weird, but I think it's a little weird to hear that fans don't like that episode.
Yeah, well, I think it was more the writers. Like, there was just dissension that way.
Which, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun episode.
I'm guessing there was some heavy-handed studio interference with Simpsons have had kind of free reign to do whatever they want, so they probably really bristle at being told by Fox that they got to do something.
Yeah, maybe they had it put upon them. I could see that.
Yeah. That would definitely be my guess, yeah.
And that's probably the case. Now that I think about it, I bet they didn't come up with let's do a critic crossover episode all on their own.
Yep, exactly, yep.
And that's this batch of episodes. We got all the way through them.
Look at us go.
What is on your agenda? What time do you don the orange and go out deer fighting again?
About 10 minutes from now.
Oh,
yeah.
So, are you saying we ought to wrap this up?
I'm going to ride this adrenaline wave of getting powered by my fans so I can kill something. Taking the life's blood from my fans.
Yeah,
my fans.
Go take that out on wildlife. Fill the freezer, Nathan.
Oh, but we'll be draping venison sausage all over this place.
I always, and I know that everyone on this side of the state does the same thing, but back home, that is just deer. No one uses the word venison.
Yep. I have picked that up being in far back home. I always just say I grew up as deer sausage. We rarely ever said venison.
Like, you want to claim I'm fancy because I like a scone instead of a long john, but yet you say venison like some fucking hoity-toity asshole.
I'm getting changed, man. It's big city life.
Next week,
these elitists.
Yeah. Next week we'll do this again. Season 6, your homework is episodes 19 through 23. Let me double check that math. Yes, 19 to 23 of season 6 of The Simpsons. Nathan, go get them. Stay safe. Don't shoot if you see orange.
I'll try. Ooh, okay, I'm going to write that down on my wrist so it's right in front of my face.
Don't pull a Cheney. Don't shoot a buddy of yours. But go get him, buddy. I'm rooting for you.
I appreciate it. And again, Aron Baynes, Luke Longley, if you hear this, shoot us a line. Let us know what you think. I'm narrowing it down to 7-foot-tall Australians.
Perfect.
Casting a very, very narrow net.
I'm hoping for you. Real specific window you're aiming for. So
there we go.
Everyone, enjoy your week. 19 through 23 of season 6 is your homework, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Goodbye, everybody.